All right, we are back. This is Tyron Jones, proprietor of the Jones Law Group, and I've got Reenita Shepherd with me. Reenita, how are you?
Fine. How are you? Good.
I'm doing great. Well, this is the part of the show that I think that we can truly be inspired by. You may have heard Reenita's story or seen her on television. I think she's been on several shows and newspaper articles, but just something definitely very interesting and moving story. Reenita, can you tell us just a little? Go ahead and go into your history, and we're going to talk about her nonprofit also, which is key, and we want donations to her nonprofit. At this point, she's not able to receive payments, but we'll talk about a way that you can get in touch with her so that because the website and all that is available. But we'll talk about a way to get in touch with her. She'll provide that information so that you can make a donation. It's for a great cause. So, Reenita, can you tell us a little bit about your history?
Well, yes, my name is Reenita Shepherd. Mm-hmm. I'm a former foster child from Mississippi. I relocated here in Atlanta back in 1996 with my two children. Mm-hmm. And over the years, I've taught Head Start children. And at some point, I became sick and lost my job, went through the unemployment cycle. And I reached out to my children's teachers, the principals, the social worker, Miss Sonia Davis, also their school counselor, Miss Killen. She was they were very helpful to help me with my children to succeed.
So you had people that helped mentor or mentor you as far as how your children could get through to be successful, right? Because I think that's a critical part, of your story is, the fact that when you lost your job, then did you have a home at that time, or where did you live, or what?
No, we had to live in a shelter.
Okay.
And it was not an easy experience with my children, but it was something I had to do. Mm-hmm. And I had no family here. And I just had to go to the school homeless liaison, and say, look, I need help with my children. Mm-hmm. I needed help with my daughter. Chalisa got enrolled in the dual enrollment program. Mm-hmm. I needed help paying for her books. Mm-hmm. But the Clayton County, they paid for her to go to Clayton State, but I needed assistance. So I went to my homeless liaison at Sonia Davis and said, mm-hmm. look, I need help. I got two children graduating the same year. Mm-hmm. I needed help with prom dresses, everything that the children need when it comes to graduating. Miss Davis was able to help me. Now, if you were in a shelter, how did your kids go to school? Well, up under the McKinney Veto Act, mm-hmm. if it's wherever the origin that the child goes to school, mm-hmm. the school system has to take that child, transport that child back and forth to school.
Okay, so they were transporting them from the shelter to the
school? Yes, that's right. Okay. They would meet another bus in another mm-hmm. county. That's right.
And then how did you clothe them and all those things that they need when they get ready to go to school?
Well, when we lived in the shelter, it was mainly in the wintertime, mm-hmm. but during the summers, my daughters worked with the Atlanta Workforce Program, mm-hmm. and when they worked, they had to pay their own phone bills, and I made them buy their own school clothing. So they paid for their own school clothing since they were 14.
but they were working though.
Yeah, they were working in the summers, right?
At that age. So it wasn't a situation. It was something where you had gotten sick. Mm-hmm. They still worked and tried to provide for themselves. So it's not something where no one was putting forth any effort. Everyone was trying.
Right.
It's just these things, and that led to you. And were you ever homeless? Did you always just live in the shelter, or did you live in different shelters?
No, we had to live in two different ones. Okay. We lived in I want to say the name of the shelter, but mm-hmm. the shelter staff was very accommodating. They were very helpful, and mm-hmm. my smaller children attended the Atlanta Children's Shelter, and it's a daycare for children of families that are homeless.
Now, how many children do you have?
I have 4 children.
Okay, so you were raising 4 children and going through all of that, mm-hmm. adversity.
Yes.
And it really stemmed, you said, that from the time that you were sick, and then did that cause you to lose your job because you were
it
sick?
did cause me to lose my job, but then when I went back to work, I had problems going back and forth to the doctor, and then the economy kicked in. It was hard to get a job, and I was laid off, and when I did get work, so it's been like a constant struggle over the last few years.
And now for your daughters, well, tell everyone where they graduated, where they were ranked in their class, and all that stuff.
Well, first of all, both of my children they're 9 months apart. Okay. My oldest daughter, Chelsea, her birthday is in September, so she started school late. So they've always been in the same grade. So in the 10th grade, both girls had the opportunity to start college early, and only one wanted to, Chalisa. Chelsea wanted to stay and hang with her friends. So both girls graduated last year. Chalisa graduated from Charles Drew High School in Clayton County as a class valedictorian. And when she graduated, she was already a duly enrolled student, which means that once she started her college, she would be a junior. But not only did she graduated, she also could play five. She also plays 5 instruments, and she was on the swim team in high school too. Even though she went to she was enrolled in high school, but she only took college courses.
Okay, so
right. And then my other daughter, Chelsea, she graduated from Carver School of Technology as class salutatorian, and she worked a full-time job while she was class salutatorian.
So something had to inspire them. Something had to drive them to understand that education was the sort of the way out of whatever their situation was. What was that thing?
Well, I didn't want my children to experience what I had. I wanted them to have life easier. But I taught them at a young age, at 3, how to read. And I always wanted my children to go to college debt-free. So
now, how did you teach them to read at 3 years old?
Everything I did was a learning experience. Back then, we didn't have a car when I first moved to Atlanta. We rode the train. And I had a job that was by one way that took 2 hours for me to get to work, working at a daycare. So on the train, I would teach them the shapes, colors. I taught them how to read a map just by being on MARTA. But everything was a learning experience. Everywhere we went, I actually engaged by talking to them and just spending time with them and not leaving them with anybody. They always stayed with me. So
out of all the things that you've been through, I know with your not-for-profit that you have that's sort of in the same area, because based on your situation, right?
Right. I want to help other people that I have experienced the things that I have, but there were some obstacles. Even though I was homeless, every agency did not want to help me. Okay, so I want to be that gap to where, okay, you can come to me, and if I cannot directly help you, but give you the resources that you need, the tool that you need, or the agency that will help you.
Mm-hmm. And so you think that based on the experience that you've had and how you've had to navigate through the different agencies, that you would have an understanding so that you would be able to help someone who probably doesn't have the information.
That's exactly right.
And now, were there a lot of people out there that wanted to help you, or is this something that there were some people, no, but most people?
Oh, no, because I think they when you become homeless, a lot of times people just group you all as one. You just lazy, you don't want to work, you living off the system, you just, they're not really, not everybody, but I've had more negativity than positive when it came to my situation, as far as people really trying to help me to get back on my feet.
Right.
Yeah, the support wasn't there. The case management, the case workers. I got most of my support from the school, as a matter of fact. The teachers, the principals. You know that saying that says, a closed mouth won't get fed.
Right.
I had to reach out to them and say, look, okay, this is my situation. I'm sick, or look, I'm laid off from my job, and I can't take my child back and forth to swim class. I want my child to participate, but I don't have the transportation, or, I want my daughter in band, but, I just got this job, and the teachers help. Mm-hmm. They were the ones, they got it. I got a networking system where another parent will help me out and drop my child off for me.
Okay, because that's one of the things is I don't want to minimize the struggle that you went through. because, for your daughters to achieve what they did based on that struggle, I mean, it's something I know one of the things that you had said was when they were studying at night in the shelter, that how they would have to use a phone or something for...
Right, they set light from the phone because in the shelter you have to have the lights off at a certain time. Mm-hmm. And at the time, my daughter, she had just started college and she didn't get out of class until 9 o'clock and the curfew was 8 o'clock and all the lights were out. So the only way that she could read was she had to use the light from the cell phone.
And what drove and motivated her to take that? It's hard enough to get kids to, study anyway. It's sometimes that's a difficult task for parents. What was the thing that drove her to take those extraordinary steps?
Well, I think through faith, I took them to church as much as I could. She always liked to pray. She was always gifted. She was just, she was always studious. She loved to read, and she always wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
That's her.
Okay. And so is that, what is it that they want to do now? Do they know the occupations they're looking for in the future?
Well, right now Chalisa's in a research program, and she wants to be do oncology research. Mm-hmm. She wants to find a cure to a certain type of cancer.
Okay.
And my other daughter wants to be a prison warden.
Okay. Well, that's a unique profession. I mean,
Chelsea wants to be a prison warden.
Now, so is she taking classes? Is she like in criminal justice or?
Right. Her major is criminology, and Judge Hatchett has really been a mentor to her. She really has. Okay. Yes.
Okay. And now there's several. Your story has been out there. What are some of the places that you've had to go and tell your story?
Well, we've been in many churches. We were honored at the 2013 Odyssey Gala Awards. It's been so much. The 100 Black Women of Atlanta, they honored them. The National Coalition in Las Vegas was my first time ever going out there, and it was awesome. I've had several trips to New York to go to Education Nation, the Today Show. I was honored by Tom Joyner. I won the Tom Joyner Thursday's Mother contest. It's like I said, it's been so much to.
Well, that's great that people have acknowledged, because that's the thing. It's kind of hard to believe that because many of us, we go through and even with school and whenever we're thrown any adversity, we tend to shy away from it. And part of what the show is about, when we look at inspiring people, is why I thought that you'd be a great guest, because I think when they understand that. The adversity that they may have in achieving their goal, that the impediment to achieving their goal, compared to what you did with your kids, is probably minimal. For them to be, in a shelter, like I said, with the phone that's kind of an unbelievable story to me, to think that there's a kid that really wants it that bad, that they would take whatever measures necessary to succeed. So that and that says something about you. The fact that you would that you instilled that in your children, even though they were in adverse, situations. So,
well, I feel like as a parent, I didn't do anything extraordinary. I think that as a parent, there are just certain things that you have to do when it comes to your children, and you do have to instill certain things in them. Mm-hmm. And as far as education. Serving God, treating people like you want to be treated, and fulfilling life's purpose,
mm-hmm. Now, are those things, though, do you think that those are difficult things to do when you're homeless or if you're in a shelter? Because, that environment may not be really
Well, it's very difficult, because we didn't have the support that we needed, Mm-hmm. The rules didn't align up with us, having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, when I had a van, I would have to, when it was time, the lights were on at the shelter at 4 o'clock in the morning, mm-hmm. I would take my children outside in the van. They would have to just put this, lay the seats down and lay down because mm-hmm. you can't even get a rest in a shelter because you're so stressed out.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's part of what you want to do with your not-for-profit is that you want what's the name of your not-for-profit?
It's Crusade to Nurture Children's Success.
Okay. And is it education based? What would be your mission statement? What do you think
the mission statement is to involve the community, to get the parents, community, and the children all working together, to help all the kids succeed. I feel like through what happened to me should happen to everybody, as far as when you're going through adversities or a tough time. The community should to come together to help people that, when you need in times of need, to help each other, whether it be the school, church.
And then so you want to be the person that's there and available to do that.
Right. I want to be able to link everybody together.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
So what would be a way, and I know that right now, like I said, I know your website is up, but it's not, like I said, the payment portion's not there. So they'd have to contact you. What would be a way that they could contact you if they wanted to, make donations once your process is in place?
Well, you can make donations to www.ctncs.org. The address is on the website.
Okay.
The address is on the website.
Okay. Is there any other contact information they have where they could contact you?
Yes. My email address is info@ctncs.org, or you can contact me directly at 404-397-8048.
Okay.
Again, that's 404-397-8048.
Okay. Can you give the email address one more time?
The email address is info@ctncs.org, and the website is www.ctncs.org, or you could just type in or Google Crusade to Nurture Children's Success.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we want to thank you very much for coming, and your story, like I said, is truly inspirational, and I think anytime that I experience any sort of adversity, I'm going to look to you and say, I think I can do it.
Thanks. All right, thanks.